Americans expect more from law enforcement today than ever before in our nation's history. What used to be considered as an all-brawn job has evolved into a multifaceted profession. Today's law enforcement professionals are expected to be terrorism experts, first responders, beat cops, agents with the latest technologies, and able to solve crimes overnight. Society's perceptions have changed because our needs have changed. Our technology has changed. Criminal activity has evolved. To meet these challenges, the men and women protecting our streets, borders, airways, and indeed the American way of life must meet very stringent standards and expectations. To do this, they must receive professional, effective, and efficient training, not just when they enter the occupation, but throughout their careers. In 1999, the Office of Management and Budget directed the federal law enforcement community to develop standardized principles for training. In 2002, the Federal Law Enforcement Training Accreditation, or FLETA Board, was formed as the governing body charged with managing and overseeing the premier training accreditation model, the FLETA Standards and Procedures.
OMB said they believed that we needed to set standards for federal law enforcement training, and they were the ones that directed the funds to be utilized for that and have continued to fund that program ever since. And so for them, I think having the foresight and now seeing the results some 10 years later, they should be very proud, because that is one program that was funded that has had continuous benefits, and I think we'll realize those benefits for a long time to come.
Since then, agencies from virtually every department in the federal government have joined the FLETA community. This year, FLETA celebrates a decade of excellence. The FLETA Board is comprised of senior leaders from the federal law enforcement community, academia, and professional organizations. The board's primary focus is to promote excellence in law enforcement operations through FLETA accreditation. The board meets regularly to review and consider academies and programs for accreditation, evaluate the FLETA standards and procedures, discuss and identify ways to improve the process, identify formal and informal training for the accreditation community, and conduct planning and projections for future operations.
Again, thank you very much for being here today.
The FLETA Board is supported by the Office of Accreditation in carrying out its day-to-day operations. The Office of Accreditation staff also assists agencies with FLETA accreditation, conducts classes for the FLETA community, and supports all aspects of the FLETA process. FLETA is a multi-layered process where agencies compare themselves against the FLETA standards, identify and implement improvements, submit to a rigorous assessment of their programs or academy by a team of qualified FLETA assessors, and undergo an additional evaluation by the FLETA Board. Once a program or academy is granted FLETA accreditation, they begin the process over in preparation for reaccreditation. FLETA reaccreditation occurs every 3 years and is a new and independent review. FLETA is a voluntary process in the spirit of improving training and ultimately promoting excellence in law enforcement operations. Agencies have used the FLETA process as a framework to strengthen and improve training policies and procedures, to support the systematic review of training, and create a network throughout the law enforcement community to identify and share best practices. Benefits that agencies have experienced through the FLETA process vary. One potential benefit is the reduction in training costs.
One note about economics. It gave us an opportunity to review our business practices, our pricing formulas, and we believe we will save our department and those that will go through our course over $200,000 this upcoming fiscal year. So it's about efficiencies and effectiveness, and when you have standards and requirements that are clearly articulated and followed, that's what it allows for. So thank you very much for a job well done.
Thank you, Assistant Secretary.
Thank you.
Please, Mr. Coleman, we have an arrest warrant. Please put your hands on the car. Put your hands on the car.
Other benefits of FLETA include increased credibility while potentially minimizing liabilities as a result of training.
What it does is it clarifies the professionalism of this business. We say law enforcement professionals. What accreditation does is that actually demonstrates and proves that we are in fact professionals, and it stands up to all of the challenges that place our credibility at potential issue.
The ultimate goal of FLETA is improving federal law enforcement operations.
You know, ultimately, any agency's goal when they are training their workforce is to ready the employees so that when they do hit their office that they are ready. And so you try and merge the element of training closely to what's going on operationally in the field. Well, one of the things I think that the FLETA standards actually provide for us is it assists us in our ultimate protection of the president, ultimate investigative mission by ensuring that the standard is something we think is what we're doing well.
Other benefits of FLETA include standardized and consistent training development, delivery, and oversight, improvements to existing training programs, elevating training as a priority, providing an audit mechanism for agency training programs and processes, and federal law enforcement officers and agents from different agencies work better together because they often receive the same or comparable training and share common terms and techniques.
This is one of the best forums I know of in terms of being able to share ideas and best practices, even outside of the formal process that we have with FLETA. It's being a member of this board and being able to share new ideas, not necessarily best practices, but issues, problems, things that are going on within all of our agencies.
It is paramount that agents and officers on the front lines continue to receive the best training possible as they meet new threats and challenges and continue to protect America and our way of life. The federal law enforcement training accreditation community is committed to supporting the needs of law enforcement agents and officers and to making our nation safer through the continual improvement of federal law enforcement training. The Federal Law Enforcement Training Accreditation Board and community celebrate its first decade of professionalism, excellence, and competence. These founding values will continue to carry FLETA into the future as the accrediting body for all federal law enforcement training.